Hello and welcome to today's Confessions of a Global Changemaker show. Hi, Ishreen.
Hi everyone. Hi, Sammy. Great to be with you.
It is so good to have you on the show. Now, Ishreen and I have known each other for many years. Ishreen has been through our program. She's absolutely rocking it. She's doing the most amazing things, has totally rebranded, done incredible work with so many organizations, and is really making a name for herself, certainly in the corporate field. So for those of you that are wanting to break into the corporate industries and even going through what we're going through now, I think now is the best time to really create your strategy for success going forward in future, because, you know, we get to create the world that we're going to go back to. So Ishreen, I want to dig in really deep. We've only got this time that we've got together, and I want everyone to get a load from this session with you. So one of the things that I think is really important about the work that you do is enabling people to have that sense of belonging in either the workplace or in the team or in the organization. So for those people that are watching this right now, most of them are working for themselves or solopreneurs. How do you create that sense of belonging when there's only one of you in the business? Like, how do you create that belonging for yourself?
That's a great question, Sammy. So, you know, the first thing you have to do is learn how to belong to yourself. Yeah, you want to know how to belong to you, the true you. And that true you is who you say you are. But what's happened over years is that you've had experiences that have put layers and layers and layers on top of you, and they've kind of suppressed you. And they've also molded you into being the way some other people expect you to be. So the first thing is to really look at, well, where am I not being true to myself? Where am I not being authentic me, right? So a lot of them.
That's like a hard question. I just want to put a shout out to Lawana and Shirley right now. Hello. Hello to you.
Hi.
So, I mean, that's a big, deep question, isn't it? I guess, like, you know, as an entrepreneur or even as a business owner who has a team, you know, we can quite often look at the team and say, well, the team aren't working. This isn't working. But actually is one of those first things to do is to hold the mirror up to yourself.
Absolutely. Absolutely. If the team isn't working, there's something you're not doing, that they're not getting your communication, right? So that's the first step. And a lot of leaders don't do that. So a lot of our work in teams is really looking at how can you be responsible and accountable rather than blaming your team members.
Yeah. Well, this is really important because, you know, we're in an age where we're freelancing, we're outsourcing, we're contracting, and, you know, it could quite easily become this kind of disparate people everywhere, couldn't it? And we have a responsibility, even as a business owner, taking on freelancers to bring them into an inclusive environment. They thrive, we do, right?
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, often we might find ourselves saying the freelancer isn't getting what we want and not doing a good job. But if they're not, then you're not giving them the right directions, probably, right?
Yeah. Well, or it's not the right person.
It could be not the right person as well, right? There's a certain amount of time you give them. But so that's the belonging work we do with individuals and teams. And then more and more we're doing work on corporate culture and how to create a culture of belonging. And that starts with actually understanding what we mean by belonging.
Well, that's a really good question, because let's dive into that. And the reason why that's so powerful during this session, and hello to those of you that are joining us now and those of you that are joining on the replay too. You know, we have to create this amazing culture and this amazing spirit for our clients, right? Our brand has a culture, our brand has a spirit, our brand has an essence. And that essence is what people are picking up or not.
Exactly.
Either way, you're putting something out there, right?
That's right. That's right. And so we start, a lot of the work we do is in the field of equality and inclusion, and, you know, so we're called equality pioneers, right? So really, we start by asking our clients, what do you mean by equality? What do you mean by diversity? What do you mean by inclusion? What do you mean by belonging? And we really explore that until they can own it. And, you know, we work with large organizations, right? So recently we were working with a large organization where we started with the chief executive and the senior management team, and that's great. But then you want to look at that's only going to live in a document somewhere, right? How do you get everybody to own it? So we ran workshops. We ran workshops with 100 people at a time and let them input to what do we mean? What does this mean to us anyway? And once you've got their buy-in, and of course we always end with some kind of action or some kind of project, right? That's how we work. And that way you engage the whole organization in the future of belonging. And that's the fastest way to grow a culture.
I just love that, because we could, you know, if we take on Richard Branson's philosophy, love Richard or hate him, if we take on his philosophy, you treat your team well and then your clients will be treated well.
Absolutely.
But if you don't have a team, then you're going straight from you to client. So if you can treat your clients really well and create that culture, then that's a beautiful business to build, and they'll only go and tell more people about that as well. So Luana has given a great comment here that I've put up on the screen. She says, love that. Creating a culture of belonging is going to be more challenging in this COVID environment. Corporations and small businesses are looking for solutions to maintain culture engagement. And I think that's a good thing.
Absolutely. I think it's brilliant, right? It's brilliant. And a lot of our organizations that we work with are putting a lot of effort into how do we start to build that collaborative environment where people do feel they belong, because it's very scary for them not seeing what's going on, right? They're used to presenteeism, and now they don't have presenteeism. Nobody can see what anyone else is doing, you know. So it's important that people do have that shared sense.
And as we go out, I mean, we are literally, we have the power at our fingertips, literally at our fingertips. Whatever device you're watching us on right now, you've got the power at your fingertips to create the world that you want to go back to.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
What world is that? You know, surely that is one of inclusion, collaboration. What is it that Trish Carr calls it? Collaboration or something like that.
Collaboration, yes.
Yeah, taking your competition and being collaborative partners with them.
Yeah, and you want to start doing that, and you want to really look at what do you want when you go back. And I don't know that we're actually going to go back, Sammy. You know, honestly, I think we're going to go forward into a new culture when we start being able to see each other again physically, right? And I think it's a great. Do you know, but it's a great opportunity if we start putting it out there. For years now, people have been talking about the right organization for the future is where we collaborate, where we listen, where we nurture, all qualities that the people in your community and our community have, right? But it's all lip service, because at the end of the day, it's the old macho culture that's pervaded. And now we have a chance to actually say, look, we've worked really well in this new collaborative, engaging, nurturing environment. We've been able to work effectively from home. So there's no reason to tell people you have to be in the office unless you need to.
I think oh, go on.
Now, I was just going to give you an example. So I'm working with a very senior chief exec. She's actually in the top 20 of a global organization. She's in the very senior team. And it was really interesting because she's just had 2 kids. She came back to work and she's kind of missing her kids because she didn't ever see them. She only saw them when they were in their cots. Okay. So working together, and she was also working on trying to get a pay rise, and she reached the point actually where she gave in her notice. And we were like, fine, you know, you're skilled. We know you'll find a job wherever you go. It's not a problem. But the chairman and the chief executive were like, we can't let this happen. We can't let this happen. You're too important to us. And what happened was we then worked with them, and now she works from home. This woman, she's in the top 20 in the company, a global organization, thousands and thousands of people working in this company. She now works full-time from home to her timetable, and she goes into office for board meetings and other, you know, important meetings, like meeting with me.
Yeah. Nice little drop in there. it's absolutely spot on. But I think, you know, we are going to go back to a different world, like you say. And I mean, what do you think? Those of you that are watching now, what kind of world would you like to see us go back to? And you know, what do you want your role to be in the creation of this new world? I think this, you know, as much as it's devastating, it's also there's a massive amount of anticipation right now, isn't there? I think we've got through most of the anxiety. I think most people have got through the trauma of, yes, God, we can't go out. All right, you know, it's kind of dealing with it, and that was quite a shock for everybody at first. But I think there's a lot of new things that are coming out of it, and a lot of really interesting things. I'm seeing communities that are growing together much more. You know, like even in the Brand Builders Club, lots more people are now showing up to the calls. They're doing the work. They're getting involved. They're seeing the results. They're doing it more. That, you know, and it's amazing. It really is amazing.
No, and it's great. And you get to shape the world you want to have. And I'm sure you've all seen Bill Gates' email about that, right?
Yeah.
You know, it's a chance for us to really stop and think about what's important, because the making money, corporate, crazy world is not really going to progress our planet.
I think it's going to be very interesting, isn't it? When what you know, the way that we see this going. I said to Greg yesterday, blimey, you know, I wonder what's going to happen when we go back to this like changed world. Are we going to see, you know, no high street or very few people on the high street? Are we going to experience lots of office buildings being completely available because they haven't got a bit of interference going on here? I'm not quite sure what that's about. But, you know, are we going to see these massive organizations with big, you know, floor space that's just rattling around and empty? And Greg said it could go the other way. He said it could completely go this is what I love about my husband. He always gives me a really good balanced view. He's excellent. And he said, but it could go the other way. What if people that are working from home then feel so isolated and they were actually missing that social energy in a company? What if that happens and there's more depression and more people are, you know, mental health, going through mental health issues? He said we might end up seeing that actually the offices become more packed.
Well, Sammy, that's already happening. Oh, I've got an echo here. I know that's already happening. So there are a lot of people who work from home who do feel lonely, and actually they go into the office for 1 or 2 days already just for that social contact.
Yeah,
you know. So Greg's right. The other thing I've heard is that, you know, there's this whole new world coming with self-driving cars and all of this, right? So some people are saying those buildings will become the car parks for our self-driving cars, right?
So we can fly into them.
Yeah, exactly. You know, so they'll restructure those buildings so that, you know, it becomes a car park, which is quite depressing. I think that's quite depressing, really.
Well, I think we're always going to make a use of the spaces that we have, aren't we?
We always will. We always
make a space. But, you know, what's interesting is the way that people are treating others. And, you know, in this inclusive world, I think, and I hope that you're noticing this as well, Ishreen, and those of you on the call, are you noticing this too? That people that wouldn't usually be connecting are now connecting.
Yes.
You know, people are taking things online that they didn't know how to do that before, but now there's this sense of urgency. They're actually learning new skills.
That's right.
They're doing the work. I'm seeing a lot of advancement in that area.
Yes, and a lot of innovation on technology, right? So I belong to one of these tech groups. I'm a bit nerdy. I used to be an engineer, so I still like to keep in touch with my tech, right? And the
I didn't know that about you.
Did you not? No, my beginning in life was as an electronics engineer. So hence the systematic brain, right? Oh, I've lost my track now. What was I going to say? Yes, so what I notice is that the innovation in that WhatsApp group is amazing, right? They're looking at, okay, what can we do to solve this around COVID? Now, the current thing they're looking at is people are really upset because they can't be with their loved ones as they pass away. It's kind of a morbid, sad topic, but you know, it's a big issue and it's causing a lot of depression. So what applications can we come up with to help people connect with those loved ones and say goodbye and feel some connection rather than, you know, okay, they're gone, bye-bye, right? So yes, I'm noticing a lot of collaboration and innovation in tech. I kind of wonder, I'm a bit of a Zoom fan, right? And there's all this recent stuff about security around Zoom, right?
Does it happen to you? Because it happened to me twice.
Did it? Oh, it's not happened to me yet, but I hope it won't happen. They've got all this new technology now. But, you know, it's almost like Microsoft Teams seems to be the new flavor of the month. I hate it.
There's so many people that are birthing things, aren't they?
I know. But I almost wonder if Microsoft Teams are sending out these little problems, sabotaging.
Let's create a bigger problem.
Yes.
So we can put a solution to that problem. It wouldn't be the first time.
No, and they're growing. Microsoft Teams is growing like crazy, right? Anyway.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, Luana, I'm loving all the input that you're giving, Luana. It's amazing to see you. I've missed your face.
It's brilliant.
In the US, one of the things that we're looking at is ensuring that the workforce of tomorrow has not only the technological infrastructure to support engagement and commerce, but also funding for wellness support is in place to support emotional health. That is awesome.
That is
Luana, tell us a little bit more about your business. Like, you know, how is this impacting on you, or how are you pivoting? I'd love to know. And the same for you, Shirley, watching from the Netherlands. It'd be great to find out how you're pivoting. Ishreen, has this impacted on you? Like, how are you pivoting, if at all?
Well, I'll tell you what's really funny. So most of my work is face-to-face, right? So that all stopped. So then I'm looking at what can I provide that's of value. And what's really interesting is I'm pivoting back to my engineering days because I'm being called on to write case studies around tech. So what they want is not a techie, but somebody who can communicate well, but who can also engage with the technology. So I'm getting assignments to write case studies for these big organizations right now. And it's kind of, and you know, we have to pivot to keep. We've got to keep the money coming in so that we're around when everything starts to open up again. I'm also, you know, I'm quite lucky. I had a lot of work on, and a lot of my clients are going online to complete the less. You know, you can't do 100 people transformation on Zoom, but you can do one-to-one coaching. You can do team dynamics kind of work. So I'm quite fortunate with that, and it's a chance really for me to grow the Authentic You movement, which is the community that grew out of the back of the book that you helped me brand, Sammy, right? Authentic You, all those years ago. So it's a chance to really think about what's going to be useful there. And I'm joining a lot of your sessions. I had a massive value from that the weekend that you did, where we worked with Greg
on the product.
Yeah. You know, this is a whole space for me to grow my work around imposter syndrome as well. So that
that's going to increase potentially, Ishreen. I mean, you've got lots of people. I mean, this is needed so much right now. There are literally millions of people who are now out of work. There are, you know, hundreds of thousands of businesses that have gone bust or that are on hold, and they, you know, who knows when they're going to get the opportunity to open again. And so there's lots of people who are starting a business, and they're going to, as soon as they look to social media to start doing their market research, if they're not in the right environment and they haven't got the right people hacking their parachute, they're going to go into compare and despair, and they're going to have a lot of this imposter syndrome show up for them. And people who aren't going to be in work for maybe 3 months, they're going to go back to work and things might have changed. Other people who might have accelerated while through that period, then that might create imposter syndrome as well for many people trying to go back to the workplace.
That's right. And, you know, I think most organizations have kind of had a break for these last 3 weeks. They've, as you said, they've been in panic, they've been in trauma, they've been in fright, that, you know, and now they're starting to settle down again. So people are going to be expected to start performing again. And at that time, that's when it's all going to kick in, right? And they've been in their heads for 3 weeks. It's like, how am I going to do this? Am I good enough? You know, all that. all that will come up. So, so yes, so we're taking all the training, creating we've got a great little quiz. We're just finishing off the back end of the pipelining around that. And, you know, I'm going to offer some special deals for people who want to join the Authentic You community now, because I think it's a time when it, as you said, it is needed.
Yeah, totally. And it's just getting it out there, whether even if it's not perfect. So Luana says she's got two businesses. The commercial and investment mortgage business is taking a huge hit because of the market volatility, and lenders have stalled their lending to all that. We've got quite a big if I'm muting your mic, we're getting lots of interference. Not quite sure what that's about, but
no.
However, we already had a very robust virtual platform in place. So what I'm doing is training small businesses how to remain relevant during economic crisis and downturns. Wow, that's needed too. And the second business management consulting, partnering with an IT strategic partner and launching a free webinar this weekend to talk about how to maintain and enhance communication on a virtual platform in order to increase customer reach. Well, that is totally
fantastic.
In fact, should you two not actually talk to one another, Luana and Ishreen? Maybe you should have a conversation.
I think that would be a brilliant idea, Luana. Let's catch up outside of this. That would be really good.
Yeah, definitely. Well, Ishreen, the name of this show kind of gives it away, doesn't it? Confessions of a Global Changemaker.
Yes, it does. Yes.
I want to get down and dirty in some of your confessions, and I want to hear, as I'm sure our viewers do, and you can give us a yes, Ishreen. We want to know the big stuff in the comments box right now. I want to get into some of your confessions that you don't usually share with other people. Like, what are some of the things you've been through that you would never want anyone else to go through, and how would you do it differently if you were to do it again?
Good. Well, I'd like to share two lessons with you, if I may. So back in 2014, 2015, I'd been running my own practice for a while, and I had been working with senior people around the world. And it occurred to me that the women I was working with still lacked confidence. No matter how senior they were still dealing with the issues that I was dealing with when I was in the corporate world. And so I ran this 1,000-person research program and wrote a really great little white paper called Shooting for the C-Suite. I say it's great. That's not me saying it. Other people said that, right? And it talked about the challenges that women faced at work, and how the people who'd got over those challenges, how they'd done that. And it was really well received. And somebody approached me, the former MD of Morrison's. She was a lovely woman. She took over right after Ken Morrison resigned, and you know, I felt really connected with her. And you know what, I was starry-eyed because wow, somebody actually wants to invest in my business. You know, it was kind of it was flattering, right? So I got into it. She brought in some other people, and before long I started to feel like an employee again. And the reason I'm not earning the big bucks in the corporate world that I used to is I don't want to be an employee anymore. I like my freedom. Right. And I just didn't feel like they got the business. But in the meantime, they'd invested £20,000 into this business, and I was taking the business back, and I got into such a state about they're going to want that money back. I don't have that money. You know, it was a really tough time, the end of 2015. Wow. It was a really tough time. So I did eventually get out of that agreement. But what it meant was I lost a year in my business. I had everything set up, you know, I had my book being written. I had a really great publisher who was going to market it, and they wanted me to get it properly published, then all sorts of drama. And my book launch got delayed. My business launch got delayed. I had to then start from scratch with building the brand. Fortunately, I met Sammy and Miles soon after that in 2016, and we were able to do that, right? But it's, you know, imagine if I'd been able to start 6 months earlier. Imagine if I'd been able to start from a really good state rather than Sammy and Miles having to build me back up, right?
Yeah.
So the lessons I've learned from that are really, and it's funny because it's what Authentic You is all about. It's to really value yourself and know who you are. And don't get enamored with the possibility of an investor or, you know, it's really flattering, but do your due diligence. Know that it's right for you and make it formal. That's what I've learned. It's like have really clear terms of engagement and figure out what the investment drop downs were. I was fortunate they didn't ask for the money back, but all that time getting stressed meant that I wasn't as productive as I could have been. You know?
Yeah, very interesting.
Yeah. And, you know, we all do want to go into new agreements with a sense of possibility, don't we? We don't want to, we don't get married. We don't get generally married thinking we're going to get divorced.
No.
But in, right. But in some cases, it makes absolute sense to have a prenuptial agreement. And I think if you're going to talk to investors, make sure you include that in your initial discussions before you accept a penny from them.
Yeah.
So
very good advice.
Yeah, so those are my 3 bullet points from my first lesson. So then let's fast forward to February 26. I'd found Sammy and Miles. I had the support, starting to build my business again. It was really great. And I had a brand, that I really, really loved. This brand was called Parity Pioneers. It said what it does on the tin, right? We had the branding done. We had a launch plan. It was all going to, you know, exactly as I would want it.
I remember all this.
You remember? I'd applied for the trademark. You know, I applied for the trademark in the December of I think it was 2016. Yes, because we'd done all that work. So I'd applied for the trademark in the December of 2016. We were going to launch on the 11th of January. I'd even created a day. So you know how Sammy coaches you to have your own day? I had International Parity at Work Day. I had my client at Aon give me their amazing floor on the cheese grater. So it was like a really great venue. I had some amazing speakers, including the woman who set up Harry's Chocolates for her son who had Down syndrome, right? And how they built a whole massive business around that. I had the woman who led the Lord Davis report. I had Heather Melville. I had some legends really come along, and we had music and we had drama and we had talks, and it was amazing food. And it's January, so it was dry January, which is brilliant because it fits with my values. I don't drink, right? So it's dry January, and they cooked up these amazing cocktails for us as well, all you know, from the client. And so it was an amazing launch in January 2017, and we thought everything was going to be amazing. And then on the 14th of February, which is my birthday of 2017, I had a notice that my trademark was being challenged. And it wasn't being challenged by just anyone. It was a big firm. And I knew, you know, so I reached a point where I had a choice. I could have kind of gone to battle on that and, you know, probably lost because they have the money and I don't. But it put me back again. So most of what we have to manage is our mind, right? So it put me back another 6 months because I had to come up with a new trademark, and Sammy worked with me, and we came up with Equality Pioneers, which probably more says what it does on the tin, but it didn't sit with my heart.
You
know, but we got it launched. But this time I was not going to do anything. I wasn't going to spend a penny until I had that trademark. Right? So again, you know, these are all things that add time to your business and to your success. So the lessons learned here, I'd summarize is make sure you get your trademark before you invest too much of your hard-earned cash and time and heart. Find ways to shorten your grieving process. You know, a lot of what I'm doing now in the Authentic You movement is helping people to deal with grief in not producing the results or the success they want to produce, and getting over that really quickly so that they can be productive again. And the other thing I've learned is actually there's no such thing as a waste of money, because every step in your business life is a pillar to your future success. And what I've gained from doing that massive launch is that people who came to that event still talk about it. They love it so much. They still celebrate International Parity at Work Day. and they have become clients of mine, even if the brand did change.
Yeah.
So,
well,
you know,
I mean, there's some great lessons there, Ishreen, and thank you for being so vulnerable and sharing them with us.
sure.
One of the things I was going to say was, you know, these people that you're being asked to do these reports for now, you know, would you have maybe not come to that conclusion and be receiving that work now if you hadn't have been doing what you're doing now? It's like everything leads to something else that leads to something else that leads to something else, doesn't it?
Exactly. So the main lesson, I think, from both of those is don't dwell on what's happened, but find a way to release yourself of that. And you need to grieve for those sorts of things, right? But find a way to release yourself of that quickly and then move forward and keep thinking from your vision, because the vision never went away. My vision was always clear.
Yeah, and that's a really key thing, isn't it? If you know what your vision is, you know what the values are of what you're doing, and you know your value, which goes back to you know, that self-belonging, that knowing who you are, then it makes all the difference. You know, no matter what situation happens, you have that intensity within yourself to want to go and do something else. We've got two questions here. Luana says, what was the new term that you used that combines collaborator and competitor? And I'm pretty sure this is a Trish Carr comment. So I think it's collaboration, or it's something like that. It's really good. It's like collaboration and competition, collaboration when you bring the two things together. And Paddy, thank you for your question. Hello, Paddy. I thought you said,
hi,
Sammy,
Paddy.
how do you live with someone else?
Yeah, but that's what I saw, and I'm like,
how do you live with someone else? What software do you use? How are they connected? How do you live with someone else? I think is what the question is. So, Paddy, thank you for your question. I am using it's a program called StreamYard, and if I give you an affiliate link, what will happen is, so don't go and sign up to it just by doing it. If you get the affiliate link, then you'll get money off when you do it, because it's through a referral instead of you just coming to it straight in. So yeah, I love StreamYard. It's so good. And it enables me to, in fact, I delivered a great session into the Brand Builders Club community last week, and I had 5 people on the screen. I had 5 people who were all part of the conversation, and we went live to the world, and it's just brilliant. So StreamYard is what I would recommend. It's a great one, and you can, like, I'm going live right now with Ishreen via my YouTube channel, via my Twitter channel, via 2 of my Facebook pages for my business and my personal brand, and the How to Build a Brand group with nearly 6,000 people in it. So, you know, we're going live to a lot of people right now in a lot of places, and I love StreamYard. It enables me to be able to stream effortlessly to all of these different channels without me then having to download it, edit it, get it up into all of these different places. So yeah, that's what I would recommend. Luana says, every step in your business life is a pillar to your future success. You've been quoted, Ishreen.
Yay. Yay. Thank you, Luana.
That's brilliant. Ishreen, as we come to the end of our time together, which I'm very sad, like I always love talking to you. We've known each other for so long. I love catching up with you. What would you want everyone to know about you? Like, what do you know for sure that you would want everyone to know about you?
That's a great question. I want to think about it before I answer. So, what I want you to know is that I'm passionate about developing cultures of belonging. And why I'm passionate about that is I'm passionate about people connecting, people experiencing being valued, and people feeling safe. And that's what's really important to me.
Yeah, I would agree. And you make that happen. Everyone that you come into contact with, you make that happen. So if people want to get in touch with you, Ishreen, like, what's going on? What's going on in your world? What's next? How can people find you, and what's happening?
Yeah, well, I'll tell you, one of the things I'm cooking up, and I need to catch up on your live, Sammy, your 8 o'clock sessions, is I'm thinking of just as a giving thing, setting up some 4 o'clock lattes so people can just get together and chat. And you know, I have frameworks, and I have ways of helping people to open up there. So if you're interested in that, just message me. Can people message me from here?
you can. I mean, they'll see that you're connected in here. You're obviously tagged in here, so anybody could hover over your name and then connect with you that way. Obviously, you can see Ishreen's full name is on the screen, so you could type that into Facebook or LinkedIn and find her that way. And what about your website, Ishreen?
So my website is AuthenticU-success.com. AuthenticU-success.com. So you can check me out there. You can obviously find me on the Facebook groups. And listen, if anybody wants to join the Authentic You community, the movement, and just have an experience of what that's like, we've just covered imposter syndrome. So I'm happy to share the videos from that with you. And next month, we're going to be working through what gets in the way of your success. So there's, you know, you're welcome to come and join us. I'm happy to do a special deal for all brand builders. So just let me know and we'll work it out.
Thank you so much for your light and your love and your kindness and generosity and your time for being here with us today. And to those of you that have joined us during the call, and for those of you that watch the replay, I'm sending you loads and loads of love. We're going to be live for our last day of the week tomorrow. How did it become Friday tomorrow?
My goodness. Already, right?
I'm busier than I've ever been.
Me too. It's crazy. But thank you, Sammy, and thank you everybody for being here and joining in this story. Thank you.
Yeah, and well, definitely get this recording up onto your website, Ishreen. It will be once it's done its streaming thing, you'll be able to grab it from YouTube. For those of you that aren't already subscribing to the YouTube channel, if you go to YouTube and type in "How to Build a Brand" or YouTube/How to Build a Brand, you'll find our channel. So subscribe, and then you'll never miss any of the amazing stuff. There's other videos that I put up into the YouTube channel, little how-to things that I think you might find useful. And tomorrow we have the amazing Sabrina Gagnon, who is one of our Brand Builders Club members in, I believe she's in Atlanta. She's either in Atlanta or Miami, because we run events there. And I know that she came through the Brand Builders Club program from one of our live events out there. So yeah, you're going to hear from Sabrina tomorrow. She's just launched a powerful podcast. She does loads of stuff with business owners and entrepreneurs. So we're going to be digging into her success strategies and what are some of the things that she's learned the hard way from, so you don't have to learn those things for yourself. Luana says she sent you an invite via Facebook, Ishreen. She looks forward to connecting. Stay safe, ladies. Thank you so much, Luana. Stay safe, all of you. I'm sending you big love, light, and lots of chuckles for an amazing evening. Keep chuckling and have a great evening, whatever you're doing and wherever you are. So sending you big love. We'll see you tomorrow in the group. Mwah. Thanks, Ishreen.
Bye-bye. Thank you. Bye, everybody. Bye.